everybody, welcome back to Psyance. This time I won't be doing a beer review. This is more just of an information video, giving you or my slight perspective or little point of view, bit of useful information in the beer world at the minute for those that are actually interested. So let's start with websites. See a lot of information flowing around on some of the forums and groups on things like Facebook, and people new to the scene like I was, still am, still a bit of a novice, and they're asking, where can I get this, where can I get that beer. I think social media is the easiest thing these days for being able to purchase beer, share opinions, things like this video for instance. So it's never been easier to purchase beer and get it at home or get some of your favourite beer. Having said that, because of social media, because it's so easy to market now, is that necessarily a good thing? I suppose it is in one respect, but some could be thought of as trying to jump on a bandwagon, almost like the latest beer comes out and or recipes change slightly and immediately everyone goes out and buys it. Oh, I've tried that new beer, like it's a bit of a fad now. And then you're losing sight of what the beer actually is, and are you buying into marketing? It's very clever. There's two ways of looking at it. I don't, or try not to, or haven't been doing jumping on so-called bandwagons where a new recipe comes out or something like that. I do try some, but I don't go out my way to search for it. But it's each to their own, isn't it? But then I'm a bit all over with my tastes in beer. Like sometimes I want a hoppy beer. I've mentioned in a couple of reviews that sometimes I'm getting a bit bored of the hoppy beers recently. Everything's an IPA. Or everything's really fruity and tastes very similar. You just want something different, shake it up a bit. Otherwise, back to my original point of being able to get your beer. That didn't come out right, did it? Being many places where you can get your beer basically at home. There's a lot more shops and tap houses and all that popping up all over the country now. I think we're in a brilliant time where it's becoming more and more popular again, which is a good thing. So again, websites are popping up, shops are popping up, offies and pubs are offering more selection, which is a good thing. But some of this stuff can be expensive. Getting deliveries can be expensive. From some of these websites, so they can charge you quite a bit for getting a box, and then you think that could be a price of another beer or another 2 beers or 3, depending on what you're buying. But it's what you're willing to pay for. So that in mind, just wanted to mention a couple of websites that I've used recently or in the past to get some of the beer that I've been reviewing, and plenty of other beers that I haven't reviewed or before I started doing this on more of a regular basis. So one of those is, which some of these most of you have heard of, but I'll give the links to the ones I'm going to mention in the description at the bottom. So Beers of Europe, definitely a good site, used by many I believe. Massive, as in the title it says, massive selection of beers from all around Europe. A lot of German beers, a lot of Belgian beers, and I've picked up a lot of beers from all around the world. I did originally start a challenge with a friend of mine, beers of the world, and we was going to create a book and all this, and he never got into it, and I started doing a few videos on it, but they're on my channel here, but never really took off. But Beers of Europe is definitely a good site for checking out beers from all over the world. I've had beers from random places that, okay, a lot of them are very similar, and obviously they're commercial to that country. In other words, that's why it's easier to get hold of than some obscure ones unless you're in the country itself. But nevertheless, They have a huge selection on Beers of Europe. Definitely check it out. Another one is Beer Gonzo. I believe they're a shop. I can't remember where they're located, but I believe they're a shop. And with their website, they ship out from their shop depending on what they've got in at the time. Very good selection again. Seem to have a lot of the latest beers as well. Like, it's more. Whereas I haven't been on Beers of Europe just recently, but it seems like Beer Gonzo will have, say, more your craft beer rather than your more real ales as Beers of Europe have, or your European world beers. There's a lot of craft beers on Beer Gonzo. They do a good selection from all your typical breweries, like Siren Craft, Omnipollo, Tool. Check it out. Beer Gonzo, another good site. Just mentioning both of those actually, when I've had my deliveries arrive, very well packaged from both. Really tightly compact with chips and polystyrene, bubble wrap, big strong cardboard box. I've ordered from both of them 2, 3, 4 times now. Never had any problem with them. So good websites, to check out. Another one is Beer Merchant, or Beer Merchant, I believe it is. Another good site. Same thing, huge selection, slightly similar to Beer Gonzo, but I would say they have a few other breweries that Beer Gonzo don't, maybe. But then they have a lot of breweries listed that they don't have any stock of. They just have them listed. Don't know. Maybe they will get it. But some of them that I've been on there a couple of times and not seen anything. But it's encouraging to think that they could get hold of that many possibly, or give you a big selection. Again, ordered from them a couple of times. Like, there's quick turnaround on delivery, by the way, and well packaged again. Never had any problems with them, so check them out as well. What's the other one I've used? I've used a good one that I've used. It's a Belgian beer website. It's called Beergium, as in beer, Gium. Again, same thing. I was managed to get a couple of obscure, well, I say obscure, or really popular beers from there a couple of times when other places everywhere else seemed out of stock, and they've done me right a couple of times so far. I've ordered from them twice now, and really quick turnaround on the delivery. And again, all coming from Belgium. I know it's not that far, but sometimes when it's further to travel, some people have mentioned in the past that they've had problems with the packaging and things like that, bottles being broken. And now I have a couple of times, touch wood on all these, I've ordered from them as well, and no problem at all. The beers arrive absolutely fine, and I've not had any problems with any beers at all from any of these websites. So check out all the websites that I've mentioned. Those are the, I'll say, 4 main ones that I've used recently to get some of my beer. I've ordered from BrewDog as well. BrewDog have a reasonable shop as well. They, you can buy a massive selection of their beers. Arguably, some will be cheaper in the shop because they're everywhere now. But for those that still want to stick by BrewDog, I know they've come in for a bit of controversy lately. Me personally, understandably so. Probably could have been resolved in some way or another. They could probably have, gone about it a different way afterwards. But hey, that's just an opinion that I would have. But I've ordered from them a couple of times. Again, good fast turnaround. The selection updates quite a bit, quite regularly, and I've managed to get some of their new beers and a lot of good beers from them. So yeah, if you want to order from BrewDog themselves, check them out. Good customer service and a good delivery as well, and good selection. But just mentioning BrewDog, as I said, like, it all come about the controversy with Lone Wolf, I believe it was called. It's a new bar that recently opened up in Birmingham, and I think someone behind BrewDog got hold of it and was like, "What are you using our name for?" Because they've just released, is it gin or vodka or some, not a beer but spirit range that they've recently released under the same name, and they wanted them to pay compensation and all this. And Lone Wolf were just a family-run little bar, small independent bar, and I think they was out of pocket for it. And again, Brewdog I don't think handled it very well, and they come out on the negative side. Some boycotted it. You know, business wise, yes, it could have been handled differently. I can see one point of view from theirs, Brewdog's, but on the other hand I can see Lone Wolf's point. They changed the name for it, but they didn't need to do that. And for all the press, yeah, Brewdog I thought could have done a lot more for them, considering we don't know all the ins and outs, but considering they spent that money, Lone Wolf, and trying to fight it and everything, Brewdog could, considering the owner come out and apologise, maybe they could have given them some sort of compensation, like put the money back in, offer them a collaboration on a beer, and you know, ensure that all the takings go to them or Lone Wolf or something like that. Maybe that'll come across as favouritism, but and then all the people would say, oh, look at Brewdog trying to recover their name and all that. But would it necessarily have been a bad thing? You know, might have done some good. I don't know, it's just an opinion. Now I also want to talk about briefly about beer festivals. Over the past month or so, couple of months, we're in May at the minute, I've been to a couple of beer festivals. Locally to myself, been to the Warsaw Beer Festival, which had a last minute cancellation. Yeah, it was due to be held in the town hall in Warsaw, and I believe there were some issues with paying or applying for licenses for the premises, and it got moved to a load of pubs in the area. The camera, the organisers, I believe, local camera group, managed to get it spread across a few pubs and still salvage some sort of a beer festival. I went to the Black Country Arms pub, which is a Black Country Ales owned pub or run pub, and it's called the Black Country Arms in the centre of Warsaw, and they had a good bulk of it there, and I stayed there. And it was, you know, managed to get chatting to quite a few people that were there, spent some time with them over a few hours, went up there on my own just to see what it was like. Didn't expect to stay that long considering. But I was there for about 4 or 5 hours, tried a few different beers, shared a few opinions with some people that were up there, got on a table with a few other chaps, and like shadows, we discussed beer all night and pubs and all that. I've went to the Burton Beer Festival, which was in Burton Town Hall. I've been to that, second time I've been to that, as was the Warsaw one, second time I've been to that now. Excuse me. And yeah, I enjoyed the Burton Festival. It's a nice big open festival, plenty of selection, a lot of selection actually. They had a seating area where they ran a brand of all Piper's crisps, and they had all their selection on. But otherwise, 2 halls really, and a great selection of beer, a few ciders. But yeah, really good selection. I had an embarrassing moment actually. I was carrying a bag that day, and for some reason I decided to buy a couple of things. It's only a small bag, and my bag broke, the zip broke during the day, so I was carrying all these heavy things in a more or less broken bag. Stupidly I decided to put my little beer glass, I got a little limited edition glass from there while I was there, from the camera stand, and put it in there, and when I put my bag back on my shoulder, it fell out somehow, smashed all over the floor. Embarrassing. Everyone cheered, and then all the students come rushing around me, emergency cones, brooms, alarms. Oh god. But you know, it's a little bit of a memory, you know. But everyone thought I was drunk, but carried on, soldiered on, enjoyed the rest of the festival there that evening, and yeah, had a great time. What did I go? I went to one not long before that actually in Burton. There's another Black Country Ales pub up there. It's called the Dog. It's good owner, good friendly staff, and they did a tiny Rebel brewery takeover. And one of the brewers come down on the evening, but I think they had about 10, 12 beers, mainly on cask, some on keg. Enjoyed them very much. Yes, had some good beers, had a good chat with the brewer and a few locals in there as well as some of the staff. So yeah, and I will returning. I believe they've got one coming up soon, the Magic Rock takeover. I may be checking that out if I get time as well. And I've just recently been to the Stourbridge Beer Festival. First time I've been there, in the town hall again. Not so much seating, which some was a bit aggrieved by, just a big hall. But you know, it is what it is. If you're there for a bit, I tried up to the equivalent of 5 pints in the end. Tried a number of different beers, friendly people. Got talking to a couple of the stewards there, and a few people that ran it and all that. And my beer of the festival, even though I didn't vote for it, it was by a brewery called Electric Bear, and the beer was called Maca Chocolata. Is that right? Maca Chocolata, something like that. Big long name, but basically it was just like whiskey and eating a Bounty Bar. If anyone's ever had one of them, whiskey and a Bounty Bar in a beer. It was like a big stout. It was absolutely gorgeous, and unsurprisingly it was the first beer that ran out there. Just about got in there in time before it ran out, I think. Absolutely gorgeous. It's very similar as if anyone's tried Millionaire by the Wild Bee Company. My mate put me onto that, and it is nice, but having had this one by Electric Bear yesterday, that one's trumped it. I think that for a chocolatey sort of stout, and it wasn't that strong either, I think it was about 5.7%. That is my beer of choice if I can ever find that again. If you do see Electric Bear Maca Chocolate, give it a go. It's a beautiful beer. Another thing while I was up there, it was nice to see another keg range. Now, some people don't agree with it. Camera about real ale, it's all about cask, and some of the traditionalists agree with that. Me personally, talking to some people there, I'm of the opinion that fair play to Camera for all the work they've done over the years, and his organisers and his owners, like putting on these festivals that we get to go to. And I think they've done a great job, and real ale is really popular, and it's nice to see it's come back over the commercial sort of storage stuff. Having said that, I think recently a lot of the sort of popularity as well, furthering it along, I think they did a really good job, but some of it in recent times has been aided by the emergence of so-called craft beer, and I know that's all kegged produced, but it is thanks to that as well. Some of it is because more people are trying all these different beers and being exposed to all these different pubs and bars and all sorts and breweries that offer both. So at the the Burnt Festival and at the Stourbridge Festival, they both had a small kegged craft beer range. I didn't try any at the Stourbridge Festival, but I did try some in the Burnt Festival. And to me, beer's beer. I can understand what Camera are setting out for, and I totally agree with it, but now it's like people want that choice, and I think there is room to do both. Definitely there is room to do both, and I think the two can cohabit quite well if the same beer is offered. So let's say, and it's good to see they're embracing it, and I think they've got to embrace it, and there's some fantastic beer out there, kegged or whatever you want to call it, or cask or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, but I think now, to get away from the commercialization of things like lager and the big commercial brands, I think beer is an exciting time where we can totally get away from that and offer everything. But I don't think you win until the vast majority of pubs offer a selection of everything. You can't offer everything, but what I mean is, when keg lines are installed in pubs, you always see the same thing, like something like Carling and Foster's and all this, and basically they install a tap and it's like 5 lagers. Well, that's not a selection, it's all the same, more or less. It's just different breweries. So why not have, I don't know, just for instance, have a few cask and a few keg, or however you want it, and have a bitter, have a stout, have a fruit beer, and have a lager, and change it up regularly, or try a few different ones, you know what I mean? It's better that way. I can see why brewery taps are becoming more and more popular, or the availability of more and more bottles, which a lot of pubs are doing now. Just one thing on the Stourbridge Beer Festival, this being a bit sad, but I was there, a little box there with 10p beer mats, and I was having a shufty through, and I got some old ones. I'll probably give these to my old man, but I want a bar one day, so I might keep these myself. Some are old and some are just like the look of. There's a John Smith's one, bitter, John Smith's bitter, double diamond. There's a Ansel's one here, Series 7 drip mats featuring Ansel's inside. So there's an Ansel's one, and then talking about one of the pubs there, I think. I've got a Davenport's one, I might take that into my local Davenports now. John Courage, Worthington. There's a Marston's one there. If that'll focus. I've got another Davenport's one here. What else? Oh, Davenport's Continental Lager. Have you had a Continental? I've got all sorts here. Mann's Brown Ale, M&B Brew 11, M&B Springfield Bitter, Worthington E, Whitbread, Smithwick's Worthington Best Bitter, Whitbread Best Mild, Hanson's Black Country Bitter. Oh, a few Guinness, Banksy's Pale Ale, Stone's Bitter, Ansell's Bitter. Oh, there's all sorts here. Banksy's, Hanson's, Resist Change, another John Smith's, another Hanson's, Courage, and something else. The Hanson's, the beer mat there, I think I'm right in saying there's a pub up near Cradley Heath. I've been past it a few times. I'm sure it's still got an old Hanson's. So it's not a Hanson's pub, but I think it might have been once. Can't remember what it's called now, but I've definitely seen a Hanson sign on it, I'm sure. I like going around the Black Country. There's a lot of still some of them old pubs or old buildings to walk around. Absolutely brilliant place to be. Just continuing the old theme. Maybe this is a bit sad, but I like a bit of nostalgia and looking into old stuff. That's why I'm still writing my book as well. Writing a book on my exposure to beer and pubs and history and all that over the years. But I picked this up on the other day. It's a 1991 edition of Camera's Good Beer Guide. I don't usually collect the Good Beer Guide, but having picked this up, I started getting some of the old, slightly later ones as well. So I got one here from 1994, and now they're only pubs from the time, and they're more or less serving their purpose now. But I will have a look through these and just look what the kind of things we're serving, see what pubs are still around these days, see what were, and just a bit of history. You know, I like all that sort of stuff, so I'm definitely going to have a good shufty through them and see what it was about, really, and just see what was on offer. And I think that's it really from me. I will be still trying to put up a few more beer reviews. I've got a few beers yet to get through, then I might have a bit of a break. I'm hoping I've got an exam coming up, I'm hoping when my exam's out the way shortly, I'll be able to get out there and do a lot more walking. I've only uploaded one video and that wasn't really a walk. But I want to start getting out the outdoors again, walking, exploring, and I'll try and take my camera out with me and see what I can just find about trekking around. I've got a few walks that I want to do, a few ideas, so hopefully in the near future I'll be uploading other things onto this channel other than just my beer reviews, so please look out for them. Anyway, so I'm going to go away and probably go and have a beer. So I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.